These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, it's these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, it's these rocky shores, they are home to me.
Whenever I leave here, it hurts me so, with tears in my eyes, oh I hate to go. There ain't no work, and the kids need new clothes, the bills need paying, so I must go.
These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
I think to myself, where did it all go? The life I once had on the ocean's gentle road. With tears in my eyes and my head in my hands, away from my family, I hope they understand.
That is these rocky shores where I call home, is where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they are home to me. Yes, these rocky shores, they are home to me.
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include new parking lot for Aaron's Arm. We visited the Kingdom of the Sun Vacation Bible School. Our MHA Calvin Parsons stopped by for an interview. These stories plus community events, the BBS Playbell, Off the Rack and more coming up after this.
It was harvest time when a terrible accident changed John Paul's life forever. He was playing near a grain auger and fell onto the moving blades. Both his arms were severed. John Paul and other War Amps champs who have lost arms and legs in accidents appear on parade floats and television with a kids-to-kids warning.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe.
Please call the War Amps about the materials available through the Play Safe program.
Play safe. The Aaron's Arm project that was started earlier this year has finally been completed. Under one of the FRAM projects earlier this year, workers were ordered to construct a new wharf, among other work at Aaron's Arm. One of the jobs was to cut and brush in this area to make room for a new parking lot. Because it was late in the year when the project started, the fill needed for the lot had to wait until the wet weather was warmer. Sometime last week, South Coast Construction finally got a chance to bring the fill. As you can see, Aaron's Arm has a new parking lot. This lot will be used for parking vehicles and for storing boats and canoes in the wintertime. The parking lot is a great addition for the cabin owners of Barrisway, Indian Oil, and Greenwich River areas. On Tuesday of this week, we visited the Kingdom of the Sun Vacation Bible School. Approximately 22 young people took part in the Bible School. The program ran from Monday to Friday. Each morning started off with a short continuing play. The children were separated into groups according to age. When we visited, the older of the group were involved in games. In this particular game, the object was to get the white balloon, or in this case, the ostrich egg, safely back to the nest. It's not as easy as it looked, but the children seemed to enjoy it. Next, the group moved up to the church for the storytelling session. Mr. David Burrows and his wife told stories of Jesus feeding the multitude, but the group received a surprise at the end.
And don't open your eyes. Okay? Don't open your eyes at all. Yes. Is what you guys are going to have to do before you finish this Bible story time is you're going to have to share those things that you've got in your hands with those people around you and make sure that everybody has enough. Don't you make a sound, Rebecca. Don't open those eyes. Don't open those eyes. Okay, now everybody open up. And you guys got to share that food because we can't waste any and we can't leave any behind. Do you guys not like sardines?
The group went back to the parish hall for arts and crafts. In this session, the participants were putting the finishing touches on their doorstop apple. Each day brought a new craft, games, and stories. Then it was time for lunch. On the menu for today was wild animals, jungle juice, and safari skies. The children didn't seem to mind eating foods with strange names. Everyone seemed to agree that the music sessions were the best part of the day.
One basket, 2 fish, and 5 loaves of barley bread. Now from home, with nothing to eat, listening to Jesus having such a treat. There were thousands of people, as far as I see, but the only two were not around as congregations. Just one basket, 2 fish, and 5 loaves of barley bread. At the feet of Jesus, I lay and share my basket and I'm sorry that there's not more there. But Jesus just smiled, I thank you, my child, and lifting up my little ones began his prayer. For one basket, 2 fish, and 5 loaves of barley bread. Now the basket was full, yes, with fish and with bread. Something special happened by the time he said, when the dinner was over, our bellies were full. Everyone agreed it was a miracle. One basket, 2 fish, and 5 loaves of barley bread. One basket, 200 fish, and 500 loaves of barley bread. One basket, 2,000 fish, and 5,000 loaves of barley bread.
On Wednesday, the group went outside for games. This kind of program couldn't be possible without the help of many volunteers. We thank the safari leaders and volunteers for inviting us on their African safari adventure. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
WARAMP's key tags are a symbol of our work for child amputees. Through the CHAMP program, children receive the artificial limbs they need to lead active lives. As they grow up, the War Amps will be there, providing information, guidance, and so much more. The War Amps. Amputees helping amputees. Thanks to your support of the key tag service, lost key return now by courier.
And now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Council held its regular monthly meeting for the month of August on August the 18th. The meeting convened at 7 p.m. and it didn't adjourn until 11:30. 4 councillors were in attendance. During the summer months, Council held only 1 meeting during the month of July and 1 during the month of August. And now, beginning in September, we will be back to our regular schedule of the first and third Wednesday of each month. Items discussed at the meeting: speed limit. The town manager advises that all of the necessary paperwork has gone to St. John's regarding the changeover to our new speed limit. There's a committee which must go through the regulations, expecting it to be finalized in the very near future. And when it is, well, then the necessary signs and so on will be posted, and the limit will come into effect. The playground. As you can see, I know around town you see the new basketball court which has been put there, and then there's the tennis court, and there's a new piece of equipment which have arrived in town and is presently being placed on the playground. This piece of equipment has been held up a little bit in installing due to several of the packages didn't arrive, and that was the packages containing the hardware for erecting the equipment. But I think when it's all finished, that the playground will certainly take on a new look and will be a real asset to our town. Parking in the vicinity of the Federal Building, that came up at our last meeting and came in for some more discussion at this meeting. There's been some complaints made regarding the parking on Centennial Street, which obstructs the vision of people making a left turn and turning onto Reach Road. The town manager has spoken to Public Works regarding this, and someone from Public Works will be in Burjo possibly around the end of the month, and the town manager will be taking it up with them with a view to trying to correct this matter. It's hoped that it can be corrected by improving the parking in that area, but if that's not possible, then I guess council will probably be left with no choice other than to erect no parking signs in that area and have the police enforce it. The other option could possibly be a four-way stop at the intersection, and that doesn't seem very practical at this time. The fish plant, I feel quite confident that our fish plant is moving along. I've got all the reason in the world to be optimistic as I look over there and see the amount of work that's taking place, the amount of money that's being spent. It's been a busy week. I've been dealing with Ridge Anstey all the way through on this fish plant thing. I continue to do that. Ridge is quite confident. In fact, he assures me that he's feeling better every day at what the outcome is going to be. There is a crab closure. There's a crab closure from August the 15th to September the 15th. I'm sure we would all like to see the boats going to sea and returning before the end of August, but I just don't think that's going to happen. It was put into the management plan that that month there would be a closure. The union is supporting the closure, and I guess we're just going to have to wait that out. And I see no reason in the world to be pessimistic. Cynicism, this is not the time for it. Everything that's being fed back to me is positive. And all I can say is that myself and our committee is being led around and by the nose and being made a fool of. Well, then I've also got to look at, there's a group of people that is also being made a fool of, and they're in this now for up to about $6 million. So I can't really think that all of us are being made fools of. The Barry Group, or Falcon Seafoods, they've got 5 boats ready to sail. They've spent a lot of money on those boats. They've got them all fitted with refrigerated seawater. And as soon as the word go is given, I think you'll find that they'll be on their way. And while this year might be just a learning process, I think we've got to look for the big picture, which is next year. And information which I didn't have for the meeting last night, today, as I'm doing this, is Thursday, August the 19th. This morning I had a call from our MHA, Calvin Parsons, and he called me from St. John's. Our MP, Mr. Bill Matthews, had arranged a meeting with the new Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, Mr. Herb Dollywall. And Mr. Matthews and Calvin Parsons, Oliver Langdon from the Fortune District, which takes in Ramey and Galtas, and Max Short held a meeting on 7:30 this morning. And Calvin told me they had a real good meeting with the man. Mr. Matthews, he said, really put the case of Burgeo, Ramey and Galtas before the minister and the situation we find ourselves in as a result of the moratorium. Of course, nothing was committed at that time, but everybody has a reason to believe that when it do come, it's going to be good. Also, Mr. Matthews was talking to the Premier on the night before, and the Premier will also be meeting with Mr. Dollywall today, and has assured Mr. Matthews that he too will be putting the Burgeo Ramey Galtas case before Mr. Dollywall. So everybody is on side. The wheels are moving. They're moving slow. There's no way to speed them up. We can do whatever we like, but we just got to wait this out another maybe month or so. And let's hope that the result is going to be good. I'm very confident that it is going to be good. And I think we've got a lot of people to thank who have supported us throughout the whole process. Building permits. There was an application from AJT Holdings to make larger their site at the Marine Service Center. That application was approved. There was another application for a development which Council supported the development. However, due to the zoning, the type of development could not go ahead in that area. And this came in for some lengthy discussion, which then went into zoning in general. And it was agreed that the town manager would look at the areas that's zoned and see if we need to revisit the zoning of Burgeo. Every 10 years it comes up for review, and the next time for Burgeo is the year 2002. However, the town can request to have the zoning reviewed prior to that time, and it is possible that we may do this. However, at this time, I would like to point out to people that Burgeo does have zoning. There's residential, there's mixed development, and there's commercial, and so on. So when you're going about doing something, maybe the first place you should drop by is the town office and ask the area which you're considering to do your development in, does the zoning permit that type of development? Because, you know, the town has got no control over this. The zoning is urban and rural zoning. The board takes care of it. It was put down some years ago, and it's fast and it's binding. So, you know, to go to HRD and go here and there and everywhere and get everything your funding in place, get everything you're going to do in place, and then come to council and find that that type of development is not permitted in that area, can be very frustrating. So I would encourage people to check with the town hall. It doesn't take long, and find out if what you've got in mind does come under our zoning regulations. You know, you can own the biggest piece of land and the best piece of land in Burgeo, and just because you've owned it and your grandfather owned it before you, and if that should be in a commercial area and you want to put a house there, it's just not possible to do it. So therefore it pays to probably touch base with the council as your first step when you're planning some development within this town. At our meeting on last night, on August the 18th, our new development officer, Mr. Greg Illier, attended and got introduced to the council. Mr. Illier is taking up residence in our town and is the new economic development officer. I'm sure you'll be hearing quite a bit from him in days to come. And your town is very much involved in economic development. A portion of your tax money is spent to finance this position in Burgeo. And economic development can, if it's done the right way, well, hopefully at the end of the day, it increases the tax base of our town, and also it provides jobs for residents. So anyone, I would encourage them to use Mr. Hillier if they need to know something, and if they got some ideas regarding development, pass it on to him. And for those of you who are sitting out there wondering what you should be doing and so on, maybe you should consider the BDDB as a good way to volunteer some time, and good quality time, and see if you can help promote your town. Mr. Hillier tells me his first impressions is that there's quite a bit of opportunity in this area of Burgeo, and sometimes it takes someone from the outside to see what we who've lived here for years don't see. So I wish Mr. Illier the best of success here in Burgeo, and I hope his time will be well spent. School recreation complex, this came up for, again, some very lengthy discussion, and the area for the new school has not really been settled on, but we had to deal with some things as far as if it's built on town land, what the price would be and what the school would be responsible for. And all I can say at this time is that if it does go in the area of the ball field, community center up in that area, even if it does, the town will not lose anything. The school board has been informed that if they must take something from that area, then they must replace it at their cost. And we're still looking at the possibility of the school and the town getting into a recreation facility. Deputy Mayor Barbara Barter has been working on this, and Barb has been working real hard on this thing, and I'm sure she would be real glad to get some clearer direction and clue the thing up. So as a result of that, Barb, our town manager Doug, and Mr. Illier is now going to put on paper a proposal which will be put before council, and council will hold a special meeting on this, whereby we can really get into the meat of costs and operating cost after and so on. So this project is on the go. It's an expensive project, so therefore it requires a lot of thought. And if the general public around Burgeo's got some feelings on this complex, it would certainly be good if you pass them on to any of the councillors or to the Recreation Commission and so on. But it's moving, and again we're walking very carefully because we don't want to get into something that's going to be over our heads. Tidy Towns, the town manager informed us that the judges for Tidy Towns was in Burgeo. They were very impressed with our community, our town. The only negative thing that they add, it doesn't seem as if we're promoting our heritage. If we're not putting that up enough for up front for everybody to see. I'd like to, at this time, thank the people of Burjo for, it seemed as if there was an all-out effort to clean up and keep our property in good shape this year. And I know that one comment was made to me was from a resident of Ramya who said they never seen Burjo look bitter. So there must have been something happening that even someone from the outside was taking notice to it. Invoices in the amount of $20,784.51 was approved for payment. And with that note, we adjourned our meeting for that time. Good evening.
On Friday of this week, our MHA, Calvin Parsons, stopped by our studio for a visit.
In our studio today, we have Calvin Parsons, MHA for Burjo La Paul. Welcome, Mr. Parsons.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
The crab quota for this region was supposed to be announced at the end of July. To date, we have not heard anything about the crab quota. Can you tell us what is happening, if anything?
Well, as you can appreciate, the fish plant situation in the crab quota is very complex. There's a lot of players involved, companies, unions, DFO. Most recent thing that happened was yesterday morning, myself and MP Bill Matthews and MHA Oliver Langham from the Ramya district met with the new federal fisheries minister, Mr. Dhaliwal, at St. John's to discuss the situation. Him being new to the fisheries portfolio federally, we wanted, of course, to make sure that we had his here. Everything has been proceeding well. It hasn't been according to any particular schedule. You mentioned the end of July. I guess people strive for certain deadlines and guidelines, but unfortunately all the pieces don't come together when you exactly hope they might. But the bottom line is I'm very, very optimistic. It does look well. All the provincial players, including Premier Tobin, are on side. That has been passed to the federal bureaucrats by the fisheries officers and DFO in Newfoundland. And I would anticipate that in the very near future, we hopefully will have some very positive news.
The last time you visited us, we spoke with a new school community complex. Some residents are wondering if we should wait until the recreation part of the building before starting a new school.
Again, there's differences of opinion. Some people feel the school was awarded some time ago. Why not proceed with the school part of it? There's obviously another group that feel we have an opportunity here to do more than just a school, an educational structure. We have an opportunity to possibly combine some recreational and cultural and technological programs as part of it, and infrastructure, to at least check out and see what was best for the community. The council have spearheaded a committee, and Dr. Barter is chairing a committee as a council representative. In the past couple of months, she's spoke with all the interested parties to determine where they want to go. Because you have a council, of course, to deal with. It's not just simply an educational undertaking. You have a council who down the road, and the residents of this town down the road, who are going to have to make a commitment to the maintenance and operation of the complex after. And the time in the last 2 months has been used to basically do that, i.e. identify where do we want to go, what are people prepared to live with, what do they want in the recreational structure, for example. And the goal right now is to have those things finalized by the end of the end of September, and then make the presentations of whatever that final structure is decided upon to the various government levels.
Is it fair to students in our communities to wait when the fundings for the school has already been approved?
I guess fairness is a difficult question as to whether it's fair or not. The funding was approved in February. In terms of school years, regardless of when it had been started, it certainly wouldn't have been ready for September of 1999. There was just too much work in terms of getting your proposals done, engineering, tenders, architectural work. So it couldn't have started anyway this September. So I don't think there's any delays in that sense. In fact, if it had been finished mid-year, it probably would have been very disruptive moving from one school to another. And it looks like if it's on schedule and all parties are bringing this together in a timely fashion, we ought to be able to be ready by the year 2001, which was the intended in time. It's going to take a year, 18 months to build the place anyway. So I guess in summary what I'm trying to say is that it's fair depending on what we ultimately want to end up with, or unfair. I think if everybody ends up with a complex that everybody is prepared to live with and use and is supportable by the people, ultimately we're talking about the long term here and not the short term. And I think it's better to look at it from a long term point of view.
So what seems to be owning up the getting of the recreation part of the complex?
Again, the decision has to be made by the people here and by council here. First of all, do we want a recreational complex? Secondly, if we do, what kind of complex do we want and what do we want in it? And that's what's being analyzed and decided right now by council, your recreation commission, the development boards and so on. And once those concepts are finalized, then you get into the costing of them and make your proposals to government to look for the funding.
Would you care to give your thoughts on MP Bill Matthews crossing the floor from PC to the Liberal Party?
I was very surprised. I was shocked actually when I heard it last week. But I'm very pleased. I've known Bill Matthews, got to know him quite extensively since the election in February of this year. We ended up being at numerous functions together. I've found him to be a very good worker, a very hard worker, and I think he'll be a great asset. Certainly when it comes now to dealing with the federal government, it's going to be a lot more convenient and hopefully productive to have somebody who's on the same side of the fence as I am, trying to make an request of the federal government that's liberal when you've got a liberal MP. And I think that will be very beneficial from a production point of view. And I look forward to working with him. In fact, I can say without hesitation that at the meetings yesterday in St. John's with the Federal Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, he was very outspoken with regards to advancing the interest of Burgeo and the plant here, and he let it be known in no uncertain terms what we want for Burgeo when it comes to the plant, to this economy.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Parsons.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
The war amps know the cost of war. It would be compounding the tragedy if we did not tell about it. What better group to hear the story than the graduates of our child amputee program, Operation Legacy, seminars at which the war amps, partly through our Never Again videos, interpret the horror of war. These champs can then pass on the message. Operation Legacy, a war amps program warning of the tragedy in human terms.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a video of some scenes of Burgeo. Let's look back to August 1989.
Good evening, and welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Rhonda Green. The Brightside Youth will be collecting recyclables on Monday, August the 23rd. If you are not going to be home, please leave your recyclables on your bridge or lawn for us to pick it up. You can also drop your recyclables off at the RCMP building at this time. If you would like to have your name added to the list, please call Haida at 886-3353. Due to annual vacation for the period from August the 17th to September the 7th, there will be only one worker at the HRDC Outreach Office. During this period, they will not be able to place job orders from different areas on their job board. However, the job board in the front lobby has all the current job listings in Canada. The system is user-friendly and people are encouraged to use it. The RCMP are asking for the public's assistance in the following. Between August 11th and August 18th, 2 trees at the site at the Fisherman Monument on Main Street were damaged. This vandalism strikes at the heart of Burgeo's proud fishing heritage and should not be tolerated. If you have any information about the Half-Hour and mention, please contact the RCMP at 886-2241 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-363-8477. All calls are anonymous. Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro wishes to advise its customers at Burgeo and Grand Brick of a power outage on Tuesday, August the 24th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All areas will be affected. The purpose of the outage is to make repairs to the distribution system. Newfoundland and Labrador apologizes for any inconvenience. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we would be happy to advertise it for you. You can contact the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
Now I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night.